welcome in 922, the chef and the general. You saw the video. Well, 40,000 of you did. We're going to get everyone to see that one here in the Madison County area. How are we doing today, guys? Is it warm out there yet, or is it still chilly?
No, it's actually it's a perfect spring day. Get a little rain, and it's starting to warm up again.
That's great. Well, this is an exciting time for the Alton area, the Riverbend region. Not really just a one-town excitement, but a regional excitement. Flock Food Truck getting 2 permanent landing food trucks. Really, I keep wanting to call them restaurants because of all the amenities that are inside of these food trucks and all the great food being served. But to bring these 2 permanent structures in, and then the big one, the literal space shuttle you brought in, this has got to be really an exciting week for both of you.
Oh, it is, and you know, really the history between John and I, we met each other. He was on my show 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And you know, me being in the restaurant business for years and seeing a kitchen that size inside of a space shuttle, and it just struck chord with me. And I said to John, man, I wish I was involved in it or had something to do with that or ever had a chance to cooking there. And here we are today. we had no idea that this was going to happen this way, that our paths were going to cross 2 years ago. And then, you know, John Simmons got us together up here, working together on this project in Alton. So it was meant to be.
And, you know, John, fill me in on this, too.
Yeah.
Whenever you're getting connected and you're collaborating on this new chapter for, you know, Alton's culinary scene, what were those conversations that both of you had? Was it kind of one of those where the ideas just fit like a puzzle and we were ready to roll?
Well, it was on our end. As Lasse said, you know, the notion is when we launched into hospitality, we were really looking at it, focusing on trucks as a form of solving a gap in communities we call food insecurity in deserts, right? And so the space shuttle just became, you know, the primary way that we drew attention to that mission. So when we got connected through that and the currency of caring, we realized that, you know, we had a lot in common because at the heart of everything is using food as a way to connect and bless people.
Yep.
And so when you look at whether from a mission standpoint or an experiential, which we call restaurants, it was there from minute one. I mean, we were like, you know, if you see the episode, we're like fast friends from minute one, only to know that 2 years later, everything that's unfolding in Alton literally fits, like, it's like the middle piece of a puzzle just fell in there, and we're like, the puzzle's complete when John Simmons was able to connect us again, and it's been nonstop since.
Well, let me get your takeaways of Alton's area, just as you guys have kind of made your journeys in and you're starting to get everything planted down. What are your initial thoughts of the area, the culinary scene, but also just the atmosphere, you know, in general for the 618?
Well, I mean, the best way to describe my feeling about Alton is that I'm planning to relocate my family to Alton and be a permanent resident here. So I'm all in on what's going to happen here.
I had no idea. That's incredible.
Yeah, so I'm commuting right now, and I'm looking to find something suitable for me to live in. But you know, I'm so excited about being part of the plan. Turning Alton into a culinary destination, but I will say that, you know, it's gonna take a village.
Absolutely.
So really, right now, we're not really making any big moves. The big move this year is the flock now, and then we're gonna have to. John and I have to really get to know everybody and all the players, and we're here to also help what's here now. And, you know, people can reach out to me. I have an office on 223 Market right under the Stratford. And we have basically an open door policy. We're interesting to hear what people, locals, are interested in food-wise, what they want to see, what's happening. Because, you know, it's just like, you know, as a chef, you can cook with curry all day long and because you love it, but if people are not eating it, it's not going to work.
Right.
So it's kind of important for me to know what the senses are on taste and what people want.
Well, and what I love, just what you just hit on, going back to it, is the fact that, hey, any current restaurant owner out there in the area is more than welcome to reach out, you know, be a part of it, because we grow together, you know.
Exactly.
And that's what I think's the big message in this is we're going to grow together. No one's getting left out. We're a team.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And we're, you know, maybe if we can raise the bar for everybody, you know, we're going to have more people coming over here, and that means there's going to be more demands for restaurants, and everybody's going to thrive.
Yeah. Well, and take me through your guys' initial encounter, because we see the cameras of Food is Love just like the folks see it here. But I always tell people the best part of the segments are during the commercial break, when we're all kind of, it's like Festivus here, you know, the airing of grievances sometimes, you know, maybe something you read on the news. But when you guys were getting connected, what did the cameras not capture in those interactions, that initial meeting when you're on the Food is Love show, that kind of led to, you know, this, you know, good morale that you both of you share with each other?
Well, you know, I think that what I remember about that, normally when we shoot a show and we're done, we just leaves and go home. But, you know, my wife can tell you that I talk more than anybody. and apparently I'm outmatched by this gentleman. So we sat and talked and talked and talked. And I remember my team were like, are they ever going to quit? And we just had to exchange so much information on that first time we met each other. And, you know, we could just tell that we were synced in on so many ideas. You know, that was my take on it.
I agree. I mean, it was, the cameras long stopped. The conversation kept going. Yeah. And although we didn't connect for a little while, when we did reconnect here on the 5th of January, it was as if we had literally just picked up in that conversation we had left off 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
And so it's, again, a natural synergy and a natural passion.
And that's what's good to highlight in this, too, because you're only as good as the team, you know, and whenever you're, you know, connecting and you're picking up whatever others are putting down, it's so much easier to achieve all these goals. Yeah. And, you know, just hearing a couple of the comments on the trajectory, what's this going to look like? It's going to take a little bit of time. Yeah. That's how I know that we're in good hands, because if someone just came in and said, no, by the end of the year, we're going to have all this going, it's going to be beautiful, we're going to have this here, and it's not realistic. But with what I'm hearing, it's nothing but honesty, realism, and knowing we are going to reach that greener pasture. We just got to take the steps necessary to get there.
Yeah, and I mean, and we're doing the intel part right now to find out what it's going to take. And again, I can't say it enough. It's going to take a partnership with everybody here in order to execute this where it's not going to fail. And that's why we want to be careful of the speed. So this is going to be a long-term project. It's not something that's going to happen in 2024. But we will, you know, every time we have something new and exciting, we will share it. And, you know, I think that we have a lot of things in the pipeline that's going to be interesting, but you know, we still have to make sure everything's going to line up before we actually execute it.
All I know is you made things pretty darn interesting over the last week. Whenever that video came out of you guys inside of the cockpit, if you will, and you know, it's the way that the public perceives us is what's going to sell it too. It's who we are as people, our personality as a community, and whenever we all saw that, you know, this jovial, let's be happy about this because this is 2 permanent food trucks coming. It really riled up the crowd in a great way. So, what can we expect on Saturday at Flock Food Truck Park whenever we have the grand opening for the season here? What's the public going to take away from, number one, the Space Shuttle Cafe, but also Birdie's?
Yeah, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, when the doors officially reopen, right? You're going to see, you know, you'll have the bar and all those elements, but more importantly, Birdie's we built that truck as well. So that's going to be a whole different menu. It's going to kind of build your own. So there's going to be healthier options, and we diversified the menus intentionally between them. And this is another example of how Lasse brings his expertise. With the shuttle, you have a group of individuals who one graduate already of the apprentice program that we have for food trucks with Department of Labor. The second is his final exam, if you will. So Riman's there. He will lead the charge in the shuttle. They have a diversified menu that reflects a number of things from the greatest hits of last season. And so you have a broad menu between both the trucks. You have the interesting story of entrepreneurs that are growing their mission. Dennis, who will be operating a truck, also has a separate food truck that he's graduated into. So he knows the business deeply. So there's a learning, there's an engaging, there's a testing, right? And it's all around, let's test it together, let's enjoy it together. And I can guarantee what they are going to get is smiles, great service, a wonderful experience, and they're going to know what the words "food is love" mean when they go to the Flock.
And we will be there as well. We have a little a tent that we're going to set up, and we have now exciting Food is Love merch.
Nice.
That says Food is Love, Alton, Illinois.
Yep.
Nice.
And it's really cool. And I think this would be a great opportunity for anybody who has any questions on what we're doing here can come out and meet us and meet and greet, really. So I'm excited about that too.
And 100 special edition.
Yes.
Space Shuttle Cafe shirts. That's all there's going to be. So I'm putting this plug now.
Get
there early. Get there fast, because with only 100, and when they're gone, they're gone.
They're not going to last. That's right. And sorry.
And then all the proceeds goes to Food is Love, Currency of Caring, and for our broader mission, because really the idea behind everything we do is to help others, right? So.
Well, and that's such an important issue to tackle, because number one, this is an incubator. It's not just a food truck park anymore. This is what I think is really the big call to action is Alton works as an incubator in so many different facets, whether it's for entrepreneurial growth in terms of, mathematical, statistical business, or in terms of culinary and arts business. There's incubators everywhere. And just hearing you both talk about this, to where you have chefs coming in that are honing in their craft, that are putting it all to good use, that are learning and constantly evolving and being able to progress their careers, but also to provide this landing spot, not just for Alton. This is going to bring folks in, especially when you have the opportunity as a grandparent, an aunt, uncle, mom, or dad to say, hey, little Johnny, you want to go see a space shuttle today? That's a huge draw too, and that's something to be excited about.
Exactly. And remember, it's coming at a time when space, again, in America is in forefront of everybody's mind. We've reimagined it. We're re-excited. We went through a lull.
Yep.
So all things space are cool, and if you're a kid, they've always been cool.
Do you guys got a moment to stick around? I got to pay a quick bill. 9:34, we'll take a quick break on this Wednesday morning. It's 63 degrees in downtown Alton. We'll come back more of this great conversation with the chef, the general, and, the buffoon right after this on RiverBender.com.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car. I have a job. There's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey Sherry, talk to me, Dream Team.
We've got Joey.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66. Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. Right. We're playing star, man, because I feel like that's appropriate, for the space shuttle that's, already here at the Flock Food Truck Park that's waiting for you guys on Saturday to go in and get those only 100 special edition Space Shuttle Cafe shirts. This is really cool. Take me through, John, if you could, the development and how you were able to kind of get this into number one, the only licensed space shuttle for street use.
That's
correct?
right.
How did this all come together?
Well, if you, I'll give it quick seconds on the back. Its history. So this airplane was produced in support of the war effort in World War II. It actually flew missions in Germany. Came back to the States, became an airliner, and for Allegheny Airlines. Hijacked and went to Cuba for a number of years, repatriated, went back to Allegheny Airlines and flew all her service life out. Eventually went to a place where old airplanes go called the Boneyard out in Arizona. And then some enterprising individuals pulled her out. They had a vision of like a museum on wheels, speaking about air and space. And so they did that in California. Then she did a tour of Europe for a long time. So her story's unbelievable. Eventually, she came back, and a gentleman in New York bought her, and then converted her into had this vision for a magnificent food truck. It was never used. My wife and I found it in 2021 when we were looking to get into this ability to use food trucks for food insecurity and other things. And long story short, so we've got it. We were the first ones to put it in use. And the truck is outfitted literally like a restaurant with every piece of equipment you can imagine. That's why Lasse was salivating on the show. He's like, oh my gosh, I've got cooling cabinets, and if you name it, and you see it in a commercial kitchen, and that's, of course, the truck's 38 feet long.
Right.
And so it has the full capability of virtually any restaurant line you're going to find. So couple that with its history, it's a very efficient truck in the way that it works. And so it lends itself as a perfect incubation lab, as a perfect piece of conversation starter. And it really, I think, reflects the spirit of innovation, opportunity, great food, hospitality, right? Everything we're about.
Well, and also...
But I got to tell you that nobody wanted to drive it.
Heck no.
Nobody wanted to drive it because, it's a big monster. So John the general had to step in and say, okay, I'll do it. And, getting it off that trailer and putting on that trailer, that was something else. And I think you told me that was you're not scared of gunfire in the air, but this scared him a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'd rather go back to Afghanistan after driving that thing.
Well, I mean, I couldn't even imagine, because my thought was, it has to be structured to where you can support the kitchen, and what better, vehicle to support any amount of weight than a complete war horse like the DC-3, and that's exactly what it was. Right. Yeah. Well, and then the other point, just real briefly, could you imagine, you're sitting there, stewardess, I'd like a bag of peanuts, and she goes, okay. And you go, tell me about this airplane. Oh, it just came back from being hijacked in Cuba.
That's right. And before that, it was in World War II. You're like, what the heck? Am I in like a time machine?
But I mean, think of the history you're going to be able to walk into. And what I do, and I do this in a lot of buildings in Alton and around St. Louis, is take a moment just to take a step back in time. Think about that, the warrior or the soldier for the United States, or that whoever that's getting in this thing, that's getting ready to protect our freedom. All the
that's right.
The stewardess, all the stories being shared and memories on those flights around the world. I mean, those are really what I do whenever I step into those historic pieces, is do just that.
That's right.
But it's really also, as you say, I think it's also a sign of what we have to do today to pivot.
Yep.
So things that are able to pivot or transform with the times stays with us.
Yep.
So this particular space shuttle is just that. It has, pivoted with times, and it's relevant all the time. And now here it is today. And it's kind of the launch of everything we're doing with Alton Works, and what we're doing in Alton, making it a culinary destination. So it's really a great way of starting this whole journey.
Well, and before we move on to this Saturday again and talk a little bit more about Food is Love, we keep hitting on food insecurity, and I want to talk to you both about your overall mission, because I've had folks on that have done some really great research for SIUE that talk about the food deserts that we have in our general area, because there are quite a few areas that do go through this. What are some of the things that both of you are looking to do to really tackle those food insecurities and just, kind of bring to light to our audience what you're working on in the bigger picture for both of you?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the whole impetus how we got involved in food. I have no background in it. But we saw that with when COVID occurred, we lost 95% of the capacity of soup kitchens in America. So we looked at food trucks as a really agile asset to go, wait a second, they can get anywhere, you can bring hot food. So that's what started the momentum. What was born out of that was a way to incentivize whether a food truck operator or the public to be part of our mission of delivering what we call dignified dining. So the currency of caring was born. Everything we're doing relates back to food is a great connector and it creates amazing experiences. But at the end of the day, the greatest satisfaction is being able to get a hot meal, restaurant quality for free at point of need. Yeah. And we call those food deserts in neighborhoods. So when we united, you had a brand that was very prolific and we had a mechanism that had already been proven. We've just finished our 89th free food truck in the area. And what that means is that's 9,000 meals have been given away to a distributed audience in like 40 to 50 different locations that otherwise would never have been serviced and most have never seen a truck. And our episode together is at Little Sisters of the Poor and then the homeless shelters in St. Louis, right? Yep. And it was just showing the power of when we innovate, we didn't create food trucks. We just changed the way that we deploy them.
Yes.
And when you combine it with people passionate about food, it's magic.
And what you just said, because people think innovate means to completely change the wheel and add a whole new invention out there. Innovating is what you just said. I mean, you already have it. Let's just put it to a little bit better use or a different use. And with the public, I think, and us as people use that word as innovative as, this is, technological, inventions. This is a whole new contraption. No, just fix whatever we already have and it'll work just fine. And it's proven itself.
Yeah, and one of the things John is doing, he has these lanterns in participating restaurants where you can buy a coin. And I don't know, John, do you have one with you?
I don't know. Hopefully.
We, for $8, you can buy this coin and you put it in a lantern. And then when we have 100 of them, we can deploy a food truck to a designated area. So that's one way the people can show up and meet us, but they can also buy a token and they can put it in there in the lantern, and that will help the mission. And I sure hope that all the restaurants at some point in Alton, and when we meet up with everybody, would be interested in carrying this mission forward by getting a lantern, and we can explain to them how everything works and how they can help.
100%.
Yeah.
And that would be something that would be really cool.
It really was earth moving for me when I went on one of the missions with the general, and we fed homeless people. And, I think that'd be a good way if people really want to know what it's all about. They can watch Food is Love, Season 3, Episode 9. And that really explains in depth what this whole food insecurity, currency of caring is all about.
Well, and speaking of that, too, getting back to Saturday, because we have the opportunity where folks could come up and ask about this very same thing. Whenever, let's talk times. How long are you guys expecting to be out there on Saturday?
Well, I mean, as long as there's demand for us to be there, we will be there.
Good answer.
So we're hoping that there will be a lot of people there, and I can't wait to meet people, that has curiosity about food, the space shuttle, what we're doing here in Alton. So I'm very excited about that.
And getting back to the menu real quick, John, just for a brief preview, the Birdies is going to be a build-your-own type of a food truck, and then Space Shuttle Cafe is going to have some of the greatest hits. Is that what we were kind of talking about?
Greatest hits from previous. So let's give everybody a quick peek, right? I'm going to reel off a couple of these
There
things.
we go. I like it.
We got everything from solar system sliders, right, to the payload burger, orbit wings. You've got the bowl of chicken. It's a wrap. You've got freeboard 7-knot. We even got vegan nautical loaded fries. So interplanetary chicken Philly. Oh my gosh, that's how this world sounded, right? And we'll kick it off with some solar system kid sliders. So there's more. Just come out and check it out.
What else do you need?
Nothing. Now
Flock also has a full bar, cocktails, beer, and everything down there. So I think it's going to turn into a real party, a Food is Love party.
That's right.
And my buddy Kip he used to be with the Grafton Winery, is going to be slinging drinks at Flock's Bar throughout the summer. And Kip's wonderful. He's a good mixologist.
I've met Kip already.
Wonderful man. Yes. I mean, I'm excited to have him a part of the Flock group too, and everyone else down there. But I got to ask you this, because it's 9:46 and the audience is going, CJ, you haven't really talked about the show. I get it. I hear you. I have a phone that vibrates from my text line, and I'm like a Denny's, it just keeps ringing on me. When you developed the show Food is Love, how did this all come into play? Give me the origin story in about a minute nutshell, if you could, on how this idea really came to be and took the world.
Well, I mean, so I really didn't. I ran a restaurant, and I really was not interested in being anywhere near anything that took me away from the restaurant. But, I realized after all these years that, we have a lot of issues in this country and people didn't want to talk to each other. And I saw in my restaurants with my own eyes how food would bring people together, and food will, when you have a little food and a good wine, your heart opens up and you're willing to hear the other side of, an argument. And I realized, if I could change the world, and I know this sounds like I'm way out there, but I think that was kind of the spirit for the show, is that we'll try to change the world. Obviously, it's a grassroots movement, but we've come a long way now, and this is season 4 coming up, and so that's cool. Really the premise behind the show, is to show you other cultures, other people, what other people are thinking, what they're doing, but through the lens of food, right? Mm-hmm. And that can draw attention to a lot of other topics that are important. So the show is really not a cooking show. Mm-hmm. It's really about people, culture, humanity. And, if we start killing each other on the show and say bad words, we'll probably have a lot more ratings. But for me, it was very important to keep this show where I knew my peers would watch the show and enjoy it. And so that's really the spirit of it.
That's really cool. And now one final gotcha question, just because I haven't asked a hard one. I have to ask you this because both of you have your backgrounds and have tasted numerous wonderful dishes. Is there a best dish ever? Because I don't think there can be. Because in my opinion, I'm not an expert, but dishes kind of are kind of time dependent and situation dependent. Do you believe that there is a best dish ever served?
Well, I mean, originally I'm from Denmark, and we have the national dish of Denmark. That has always been my favorite thing. Yep. It's very, very simple, but I don't know if it's a cultural thing or whatever, but that is still today my favorite. It's called stegt flæsk med persillesauce.
Whoa, say that 3 times.
Yeah, I couldn't even have said it a half of one.
Yeah, it's like a fried piece of pork with new potatoes, and a parsley sauce. And that's always been my favorite. So if I was sitting on death row and you asked me what my last meal was going to be, that was going to be it. But I will say that I'm famous for a dish called lobster tiger and then eggs benedicts.
Ding, ding, ding. I'm going with the last one. Yeah, I've been waiting for that.
So supposedly I make really good eggs benedicts, and I get to share that most of the time because the dish that I was talking about from Denmark, nobody want to eat it but me.
A lot of takers for eggs benedict.
A lot of takers.
A lot of takers.
Well, guys, this has been really fun. You're always welcome back on. Anytime there's any developments or you just want to chat for a couple of minutes, the floor is always yours, Senators. The General, the Chef, and the grand opening of the Flock Food Truck Park with 2 permanent spots with the Space Shuttle Cafe, and Birdie's going to be there, and you'll have the opportunity to ask all your questions about Food is Love, the current trajectory for Alton's culinary scene, and so much more this weekend, folks. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Forgot to do my job. Before I do a quick break, every first and last Wednesday of the month, we do partner with Centerstone because we always talk about substance use disorders and all the treatments that are available out there, because it's one of those things where you need to know it before you need to know it in the world, and you're going in crisis, and who knows what's left and right, let alone, Googling, where can I get help? When we have Centerstone on, we direct you to a website called recoverwithus.org. And if you're looking for a fresh start on the road to recovery, a life free from addiction's possible, and it starts at Centerstone. I don't know if you know too much about Centerstone yet, but they are a national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment. And it's not just for one age category, it's for everyone. And what I think is really cool is they use evidence-based practices in their treatment programs. So it's not the same, well, we've done this for 40 years, so let's just keep doing it. It's tailor-made for you. Addiction can happen to anybody, but so can recovery. There's so many great success stories, and you can start your recovery journey today by visiting Centerstone online, recoverwithus.org, or by calling 1-877-HOPE. Get over here. 123.